This broadcast is inappropriate for all ages, right here on Gaming Division. It's the Play Spot. I am Kamurai. I'm the jackass who can't center himself properly. In fairness, there was a cat there, and if I had centered myself properly in the beginning, I would have killed it. So, spay and neuter your pets. Don't murder them. That's what I always say. We're here today to talk about games and things and stuff, and I am so behind on everything that I couldn't tell you what was happening in the latest, greatest, in my favorite D&D campaigns, other than the one that I'm part of, and that upcoming one is going to be an audible. It's going to come down to either one of our players standing up and DMing it, or it's gonna be me running like Super Dungeon Explorer, and I don't have the same deals with Outlaw Moon that Jen does, so we more than likely will not be streaming that from the store. If we were doing it here, I would have no problem doing that for everybody, but hopefully, if I get my sick and twisted way, we'll be doing Super Dungeon Explorer. I know not everybody's gonna be up for that, but it's D&D light. Essentially, you just run through this dungeon, killing monsters and powering up, and then you go against bigger monsters, or the bosses or whatnot, and that's what that is. And I'm fairly versed at running it at this point, even under Forgotten King. And fun fact, they're going to change it again. I get that we're in a modern world where that can happen, but I want them to just leave it the fuck alone. Like, I actually miss first edition rules. And they mentioned something about bringing that back and running 3 different rule sets. There's going to be Legends, which is going to be the upgradable campaign one. I think there's some balancing issues that they're hitting, which I think honestly that's going to be the rule set that I have people play with, regardless of whether or not we use it to its fullest. Just because, quite frankly, it makes the most sense that that be the one. Because they're talking about doing arcade, where you have the co-op thing where no one has to play the bad guys, and I think the game runs better that way. I don't really like the idea of the game running itself. I don't trust it. It seems silly, and it seems like it very much kowtows to the mentality that Forgotten King lends, is that it's about the heroes, and it's all pro-hero. The console is drastically underpowered. That's what it feels like anyways, in Forgotten King versus the first one. Because the first one's very much a timer against the heroes. It's to see whether or not they can survive the adventure before them, and it's just got such a different feeling in Forgotten King that it's more like, okay, here's a thing so you can feel good about yourself, and then you can go, yeah, I beat this, and the console's just supposed to kind of lend to that experience. To me, that feels like the console doesn't get his own experience out of it, so that's one of the reasons, or maybe it's a symptom of updating the rule set so that it can play itself. But to me, that means that you're not really doing anything. You're just going through the motions until you win. And I don't like that in my games at all. I would like to feel accomplished in winning. It's very much kind of the mentality of people saying that video games aren't hard enough these days. And those are hardcore players that really want to challenge Mega Man fans like Colin Moriarty that just turn it up to hard as much as they can. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with playing your games like that, but not everyone likes that. So that's why I like the idea of having different modes. And like, fucking the hardcore players bitch about it. I don't know if it's because they expect people to get the same experience out of them, but like, I think that's to their credit that they can play it on hard mode, and they can brag about that, and that's fantastic, good for them. But I think every game should have a baby mode so people can still enjoy it and get through it, but not have to like just suffer over and over when they don't enjoy that. If people want to buy my game and just feel good about getting through it, fantastic. Who am I to say that that's the wrong way to use my game? The game is supposed to entertain them. However my game can entertain them, that's how it needs to be done. And that's why I would love to put a game out there like that, and you can bet your ass for the few games, honestly, that you could apply that to. I would do that. Now, granted, the two big games that or I would put out, I wouldn't even consider games. They're virtual installations. And I don't think the one you could set difficulty levels. You might be able to set like NPC aggression. That's fine. But the space game that's in my head, or on paper in bits and pieces, anyways, that's all about interaction with other people in the universe, and then of course you space pirates, etc. So like that would be interesting, but the the mentality in the game, or to make to counter the difficulty, I think would be counterintuitive to the game. So you could like change NPC aggression. That would be it. The other one's like a zombie world ending simulator, or zombie apocalypse simulator. I think those are the two games I would push out first. And the other big project is like an RPG. And as much as I love the idea of setting difficulty levels, you can't really do that in an RPG. You could change the experience rate, maybe, but I don't think that that's a good way to build an RPG mechanically. But if it's just about the story, and then you add a mode to like, yeah, put it on story mode. I would rather do that instead of just making it like an easy way to play the game. Set it on whatever difficulty is natural for the game, and then add a story mode where you can go through and just watch the game. Like, you don't have to like sit through running from place to place. So it's like all fast travel on, all super powered mode. So essentially you can watch a perfect playthrough through the game, and you don't have to wait for a YouTuber to play it and put it up. So eventually somebody will figure this out and realize that they can undercut the YouTubers by just putting a Let's Watch mode in there on its own, just natively to the game. And I'm looking forward to that day, because that'll mean that we are in a new era of video game, for sure. And that'll be great. So I don't know where I honestly got into that. Oh, I was talking about the D&D campaign and Super Dungeon Explorer and all the crazy things Soda Pop Miniature's doing. I've backed the Rail Riders Infinite Kickstarter. It's now over. But it's essentially, if you like Firefly, it's essentially Firefly, the train job, but it's the board game of that. And like they added some super interesting characters, like they essentially put Vash the Stampede in, which I really liked that choice. There's a couple other ones that you'll end up recognizing if you look through it. They did one that's Old Time Religion, and I don't think they added the priest from Vash the Stampede, which I thought was an oversight. But maybe they're trying to just stay away from being too on the nose about things. But there was another really good reference in there. I just can't remember what it is at the time, but they know what they're doing with that sort of thing. The only thing that I have to warn you against, if you're afraid of boobs, or you think everything is against women because they're scantily clad or whatever, Soda Pop Miniatures is just one of those companies that uses that to their advantage, because people want that. So don't get mad at the company in its entirety. Get mad at that the demand exists for it. And I'm not saying that you can't get mad at them at all. I'm just saying just be cognizant that they're meeting a demand. And it's not just they're like starting a new trend where everyone should think like that. You're so loud. So loud. Ugh, kitty. I guess we should shift over to games that I've actually been playing instead of just talking about. I'm gonna end on some other games and stuff that I've been hearing about. Um, Not that I got to play a lot. Like I sat down to play Paragon a couple times. I saw the update, and I just kept getting pushed or kept pushing it out of the way. Like I don't remember what exactly was stopping me, but it's like no, 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 I got to do this. Let me do this, and I've been behind on podcast projects and everything all there. I've got to actually film some unboxing videos for other things. I've got two unboxing videos in editing that I still haven't finished too. So I need to get caught up with life. Plus, there's a whole bunch of real life stuff that are actual problems I have to deal with on top of everything, and I'll eventually have more flexibility in my schedule starting next week. So it's hard to bitch about it too much. I've just got to move on. What was I gonna say? I didn't get to play Paragon. I haven't really played that much Minecraft either. That's kind of why I'm playing it right now. I don't know if this is how I want to do this, but I realized I wanted wood floors instead of dirt floors, and I figured that it might be a good idea to change out the brick here because the floor is the same texture as the exterior. I think that's kind of fucked up looking, but I think it's going to change how it looks on the outside, because before it had this cool like indentation thing, and now the indentation is going to be wood. So it's either going to make it look really cool, or I'm going to go, I hate that, let me change it, and I will. So, but that's the beauty of Minecraft, especially in like a creative mode like this, is that you can do that. So I'm sad to say that I've not played enough Minecraft recently, but I'm going to keep at it and keep plugging away, and it could be fun. Kitty has not learned that a keyboard's not a place to stand yet, so if that drastically changed something, I have no idea what it was. Let me see something real quick. I have a feeling... No, I'm in 720. I should be in 720 for these. Why is it acting all fucking weird? I look a little stuttery. I can't deny that. But hopefully the audio will be fine and get a little bit more traffic there anyways. I don't know. I really am weirded out by this being so stuttery. Can I just downgrade to 480? Is that any better? Test, test, test. I just freeze because I fucked it all up. Set 360? No. Let's go back to 720. Oh my gosh, let's flash this. Nope, I may have just killed my feed. I'm just gonna leave it. I'll deal with it another time. Don't need to create new problems. Oh yeah, that's the life. So, board game wise, I thought I played something board game wise. I need to teach Katie a deck builder. But no, we started playing Mario Kart this week. So that was kind of the game of choice this week. And we got through all the different levels. So Katie and I have now played through all the Mario Kart levels for Wii. It's Mario Kart Wii that we're playing because I happen to have the Wii sitting out, and I pulled out a bunch of games for when Jen and Mika were over. I figured she'd like Mario Kart because she's a driver. And she really does. And maybe it's just something about how those games feel. Because I had her play World of Goo an episode, or for a mission, she complained that I was there. So, like, that was the big thing because I started as first player because I thought you had equal control, and it turns out that that's not how it works. The first player is the only one that can control the screen, and I had kept moving it on accident because I thought she could move it back. So once we swapped, she liked it a lot better, and then I think the objective next time she plays that is going to be she's going to play and I'm going to watch. I did throw her into Super Mario Bros. 2 because I have that on my Wii as well tonight, and she played like just a little bit of that, and then she realized she messed something up and wanted to start over. And by then, the PlayStation 3 had booted up properly, or updated itself, whatever you want to call it. It really is a mess. I hate Sony sometimes, but it is the only place that we can play Unfinished Swan and Journey. So that is a thing all to itself. Um, you know what? I want that to be a brick. Uh, so how do I say it? So I actually erased my 100%ed unfinished Swan. I love that game so much that I honestly could play it all the time. I don't think I get sick of it for quite some time. But it's a short game. If you dedicatedly play it, it only takes a couple hours to get through. I think it was about 3 hours, if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. I could be very, very wrong. Maybe it was 2 3 hour stints that I played it in. Last time I played it, I had a fever and was basically hallucinating. So, can't blame me there. But what was I gonna say? The But she seemed to really enjoy that. I actually looked at her face and I couldn't tell if she was in wonder or disgust because she just had such a marvelous look on her face about like just being in this big white area and painting it for the first time it's ever been painted, and just the discovery in the game's amazing. I love the adventure puzzle genre. Like it's Portal, Aperture, Unfinished Swan, maybe Journey to a degree. There's is it Somewhere Out There? I think kind of falls in that. It's a very 2D, like Out of This World is kind of a cousin of this type of game, but I really enjoy it, and oh my god, it's such a fantastic game. It's got a sweet little story to it. It's actually kind of a dark story, but they did a really good job with it. And I was at HavenCon this weekend as well, so I actually managed to see a Super Nintendo with Super Mario World loaded up, which I also have on my Wii. And I was like, oh yes, it's so good to see the original in the original, like, there. So I had to commend Extra Life. It was Extra Life's booth there for that. And hopefully I'll be able to be involved in that this year, even if I don't help out Jen. I want to do my own stream for that. And if no one else wants to be involved, no one else wants to be involved. That's fine. Let's see what this looks like. You know what? I kind of like that. I think we'll go ahead and do this, though. So it'll be fairly interesting time of that. Let's see. So what else was that? Extra Life. So they were doing like a special D&D Adventure League there, Beasts of War or something. Not familiar enough with everything going on. I probably need to pick up Sword Coast or something, because after we finish up Harry and Hillsdale, which will be in a few weeks, it will be much sooner than I thought it was going to be. There's a Curse of Strahd, which is like the Return of Ravenloft that Jen wants to do, and I've been invited in on that campaign as well. Plus, there's some convention. I don't know if I'm actually doing that with her, but she has mentioned and offered invitations for that as well. And if we do that, great. If not, whatever. It's not gonna hurt my feelings, but if she needs another person, I'd be happy to join in. For HavenCon again. So I was looking around there. I got to see someone finishing up Dead of Winter, Betrayal of House on Haunted Hill. There's lots of good gaming going on there. I didn't get in on any of it because I was too busy when I was in that area of the convention, distracted with video games. Like I actually got to feel Uncharted 4. Man, the PS4 controller is all fucked up. I don't like that thing at all. I'm just being honest. That is a fucking trashy piece of shit, in my opinion. Just my opinion, mind you. Nothing to do for it. Really, if we're being honest. I just don't like it. Like even the PS3 controller feels a little weird. I like the Xbox controller, if we're gonna be honest. It's just what I likes. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with liking one thing over the other. There's not. Um, but I think even the Xbox One controller is different now than the S controller, which I still like the Big Bear. The Big Bear was fine. We never needed to change. Though I still do like that Penny Arcade comic where Gabe is actually holding a bear. Um, so I got to play with Uncharted 4 a little bit. I saw Street Fighter 19 or whatever the hell it is. I was like, oh, I recognize that barely. Okay, it's a thing. It's a thing that exists. It's fine. Nidhogg happened to be up, so I sat down and played a little bit of Nidhogg just to play Nidhogg. So I thought that was funny. Saw Smash Brothers. Smash Brothers was a big hit there. There was a Mario Kart was up as well. Let's see. What else was there? I was trying to think because there was a couple of indie games that were kind of interesting. There was a person there that had done a RPG that actually had some good humor. I was happy to take me back to a day where like text boxes were normal. And that's because that's how the conversation was. And they said that they were going to add voice as well, and was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Good for you. Because honestly, like you kind of need to do that these days. But like I think you need the option. You definitely don't want to do voice only. Because I think that can get you in as much trouble as doing text only. Because what if they're deaf? What if they can't have the sound on right then? There's just these are bibliocraft. There are just things that you can't always do, and that's fine. It's nobody's fault or anything like that. Anyways, my point was is that like I like the humor. I felt like they kind of talked a little too much to me. It's like I just want to look at stuff and see what's going on. Um, we don't have to do all this, but I mean, it is what it is. What it is. Maybe I just didn't feel like talking at that moment. I get like that sometimes, but I didn't feel like demoing the game. It's just like I don't feel like demoing an RPG right now. I just want to kind of see what's in and cute. And I was walking around and I got to this other corner and I immediately saw a game and I was like, how do I give you money for that? Like, who do I pay? And they, of course, are very excited to hear that reaction. It's a game called The Color Thief, and if you don't know what that is, you haven't, or like, please go find out. ColorThiefGame.com. They've got a Twitter because I think it's Trouble Impact is their company, but it's just a couple of people, and they're really nice people. Uh, so I highly recommend checking out their game. It's beautiful. It's cute. It's an amazing little piece of work. Um, if I'm being totes honest, I really want to play it right now. Like I think that would be great. Um, it would be so nice to play that game all the way through. It's a game that I think I'm going to replay repeatedly. I'm going to be able to rant and rave about it. I'm going to definitely back it on a Kickstarter if they do that. It should only be like $20 a game. I talked to them directly. They don't want to market it for very much because they don't want to turn people off that way. And I think they've got the right mentality on how to value their product. They for just it's the perception of the game. If they can't market it for more than $30, don't build a game that's worth more than $30. So I think their idea is that they're going to work on not a multiplayer, but like a free play mode, like they call it coloring book mode. They're going to work on that, and then they're going to finish out whether they do 4 or 5 levels. They said they were still debating about it, and then I don't know if they were just agreeing with me to get me to go away, but like they sounded like they were enthusiastic about doing like an initial pack of like the 4 to 5 levels or whatever, and then doing like 4 or 5 more for the sequel, like just more of the same, using the same assets but different puzzles. And honestly, I think that would be the smart way to go. It's like, give us all a taste of what you can do and what the game is, and if we like it, we'll definitely come back for more. And I think a lot of games can take that mentality and really run with it if you're doing it right. Um, but oh my god, it was such a nice, cute little game. Essentially what you do is you're a chameleon, and you have the power to take colors from things and then give the colors away to other things. So there's little gates, you have to be red to get through them, or you have to be whatever color it says you have to be, or there are doors, and you have to power up the door using the color, and then you can open it. And then there's some great mechanics with, like, you have to power up these fountains so they flow water, so that gives you another object to work with, plus colors, and I'm sure they can do some physics things with the engine they're using. So that'll be nice. CT, what are you doing? Don't scratch that. You're okay. You're not in trouble. Um, so it really is going to be quite a fantastic thing once it's all said and done. I feel like I set myself up for failure with this warehouse. Oh well. It'll be alright. It'll be alright. It'll be alright. So yeah, Color Thief. They're gonna be, and if you're gonna be at RTX, definitely find them and play that. They're gonna have more than just the starter level there to demo as well. They want to like do some closed beta testing. I think was essentially what they wanted, and I can't wait for that. That'll be great. There's Mary the Knitting Dev actually recommended some stuff by Finji. She was actually all excited about Into the Woods, or Night in the Woods, and it looks like a very interesting game. It's very dialogue heavy, but it looks like it's well developed in that regard. So like it's not that I'm not interested. It's that I didn't necessarily want to do that right then. Plus, I was watching someone play it because it was occupied at the time, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. And I kept getting distracted by this game across the way called Feist. And it's the same company. They're all Finji games because they have like 4 of them set up because they're mad geniuses, I guess. But it's a black and white game where you're very much in the shadows. And you're just this little furball thing, and there's these big furball things that apparently are trying to kill and eat all you type things. So is a very wordless, unguided demo, if you will, and you're just running through the woods, dealing with the environment, and there's little spiky creatures that exist there that you have to deal with, and then there's the big troll things that like want to eat you or throw you off a cliff or whatever it is they want to do at the time, because they're monster type people and who knows what they really want. But it was a really good game. It handled pretty well. The biggest problem I had with it is you can't throw objects up, and at this stage in the world, I think that's a very basic request that you be able to aim your throws. But it was part of the mechanics. You had to get yourself into certain positions to use the available mechanics to really do the things. And whatever, I don't know. It's it is whatever it is. I'm excited about it. I like that it's minimalist and it's aesthetic design, and even mechanically, if we're being honest. And they had some very interesting concepts, but it took a little bit of dying to figure out how to use things. And what I didn't like, the worst thing about it I can say about it, is that there are certain scenarios where you can fuck yourself over before you get to them, and you can't see that until after you've died a couple times, and it doesn't like let you know when you fucked up, and you can just run around forever. Um, Essentially, as long as you're managing to stay alive, it doesn't run to zero. It doesn't force you to die or quit when you can't win. And it's not like you can just run past a boss that's there. It's like, you got to deal with this. Because the level actually doesn't unlock until he's dead, which I think is kind of a dumb thing too in itself. It's like, why can't I go through there? It's not like it's a locked door. I just can't see. So it be what it be, yo. It's kind of my mantra right now. And they also had a game called Overload that would look kind of interesting. It's a turn-based survival strategy type game on a grid, and I didn't really pick up much more than that because was looking at it and I was just like, nah. And plus the guy from Trouble Impact was playing it, so I didn't want him to ruin his game. Because he's been sitting around there for long enough that it's like either he's been wanting to play it the entire time, or he's been playing it for a while, so he's got a certain amount of progress down that I didn't want to interfere with. Especially since they came up with such a great game. Color Thief, amazing. Over on the on my front of game design and stuff, I am finally to the point where I've got all the Blender and Tabletop Simulator assets in place, and I've got to get the rules rewritten. I've got to go through them and proofread them again, make sure they're right and tight, and then I'll flush out whatever's there, because I know the setup's missing from at least one game. And then I'll make like a web page or something so it looks just a little bit nicer. And then from there, I will get the tablets or whatever in the game, accessing the rules via website. And then I will probably release that. I'm very close to releasing that. Plus, I know how to do the tiles I need to do for Monster Office Workplace. And then I can do like sub art or something for the table, or for the Battle Princesses, because the Monsters Office Workplace ones just need the value, and perhaps for Battle Princesses, like I can do just be like asset 99 or something. And that may be what I do at first, because that'll take a lot less time to do. And once I have that done, it won't take that long to do up the decks and everything. Once I've got a structure down, it's really harder just to set them up than it is to make those assets. The shame is that when you make a deck, you can't alter the direction or the address that it's pointed at, whereas every other custom model you can pretty much do that with. It's like, oh, I need you to change to using this asset instead, and that's kind of what I did with the other ones, because they were goofy. But I really like the mapping that I've done for the textures for Blender. For these, I think they're very versatile. They're able to apply to different things, and I just need to set them up one way or the other, and bingo bango. I even did little tokens for Conspiratorium instead of doing cards, because the whole idea originally was that you'd have like pawns that you could place on the board, and then you would have something on the bottom, like a dial or something that you could move to designate what faction or affiliation they are. So instead of rolling with that, I had took pawns, and then I was going to use cards for their dials, their bottoms. So instead of having two assets, I'm just using tokens, because it doesn't matter how tall they are. That is not a factor in the game. But you can take X amount of tokens or whatever, and really just use those as the bottoms and just swap them in and out as need be. So I think I'm actually going to change the rules to use a token of some kind instead of trying to do this complicated pawn, because even in real life, it's a difficult concept to do like a dial on the bottom of a pawn. I think just having tokens that you swap in and out would be fine. And the problem there doing a virtual game versus a real game is the finite number of pieces, which is the whole balance on the conversion game that I'm doing. Is that you have to have a limited number of pieces in order for the objectives to be hard. And I think I landed on 16. So in order to do the most rewarding ones, you have to have half of the resources available of one type. Yeah, so that's pretty much gaming stuff this week. How long have we done? Just over a half hour. That's good. That's good. I would love to stay and do this, but it looks all choppy, and I normally wouldn't give a shit about the game itself. Like if I just went down to my normal, I'm the tiny man, the bottom left-hand corner of your screen type thing. Like no one cares that I'm a little choppy down here, but I think it's a bad capture because I'm doing a partial screen cap. Because for whatever fucking reason, Minicam's not recognizing it. But no, the capture itself's fine, but it looks like it's just slowing down. Maybe it's not fine, I don't know. Oh, why does the creeper look all fucked up? Oh, because it's chroma keyed out for... That's funny. It's my sword? My sword's not, though. So, I may or may not... This is a lot of warehouse. So I'm setting up walls to build on, and then I'll go and do that in between each of the walls, and I'll just keep moving down. I'm pretty sure that's how I'm going to do this. The other way to do it, I guess, would be to build walls that line up with the furnaces, and then just break that down eventually. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'll figure it out one way or the other. But I think definitely having that chroma key on the big window is a mistake. Oh, that's alright. But thank you for watching or listening. However, you just this information, this diatribe, this rant of gaminess. So until you see me next time, I am Kamurai, and that's game over. If you want to see anything else we're up to, go ahead and click the annotations, and they'll take you to our other channels. Thanks for watching.